Right, I want to go through an evidence bundle first. This one is for Sharon's, and this one will be used to fill in the details of the void order. So, to show you what an evidence bundle is, this is an overview, small pictures, all right? So this is a 14-page bundle. It's not in, it's indexed, but it's indexed by Adobe. It does not contain an index in the front, and it has the case at the top, who it is. It has the case number, and this is the claim number in the county court. And then at the bottom, it has page numbers. So the traditional format, you need an index page and a covering thing, but with electronic dates, that we live in electronic times, so that there seems really a bit of a waste of time. So this is an N379 form. That there is the form that gets put in for somebody that wants to put a charging order against a property. So the application obviously hasn't got a claim number. It's got the name of the claimants. It's got the name of the defendants. So the first part is the judgment creditor, and that's Oldham Metropolitan Borough Council. And then it asks about details of the judgment or order, okay, the underlying document for this application. And that comes from Tameside Magistrates Courts. The date of the judgment, there's various, there's 2 liability orders, and they've provided in Section 8 further information, the dates. And then it's got what is the claim number, and there is no underlying claim number here. If it was a single one, here should be the number. However, we'll check in Section 8 if there's in further information. Then it's got the debtors' details, what the address is. Then the next section is about what is the order that you want to charge against the property. It doesn't only work for liability orders, but here, Section B is for liability orders, which requires evidence. So evidence of debt must be attached. And then the land that's being charged. If they're the joint owners, then they need to put in details here in this box. Okay, whoops, here, as to who the joint owners are. This is Section 8, the further information, and here they've got 2 liability orders, okay, one from the 18th of June 21, one from the 20th of May 22, for that amount and that amount. However, there are no underlying order numbers for either of them. So that raises the question, why on earth would somebody want to know this? Basically, it's about the evidence, making sure that the evidence stacks up. It's not just written on the form for the sake of it. It's an important piece of information. And next is the sources of the information. The Local Government Act 1772 classes a council as a other corporation, and the person must make proper inquiry as to from people who may have or have actual knowledge of the facts, i.e. of these liability orders upon which this application is being made. So that's Siobhan Logan, who's a legal officer at Oldham Metropolitan Borough Council. Now, you need to make a statement of truth Without a statement of truth, this is not evidence that's being submitted, and therefore, without that, this application should be thrown out straight away. So I believe if you're doing it on part of somebody else or the judgment creditor believes, neither of these are crossed out or anything, but the facts stated in this application form are true. So that's your statement of truth. Everything in here is true. Then it says that you're authorized to sign it on behalf of the judgment creditor, but there's no signature. And there's no name of the person. This is a fiction, a director of legal services, and therefore there's nobody who's taking legal responsibility for this document. Also, note the date, 13th of April 2023. That is after the last update from HMCTS as to, and explains what constitutes a liability order. Remember back here, evidence of a debt. So the test is, does this stuff that they put in meet that burden of proof? This is just that they have paid their fees, etc. And this is the evidence that they put in. So the one liability order, okay, so this one here is for the 20th of May, 2022. So that's the top one. And what it says in there is, this is a liability order in respect of council tax. However, this is a fraudulent misrepresentation. This is not a court document. And in addition, it has some serious errors within this document. So we have a date, we have Tameside Magistrates Court where it was made. Oldham made the complaint that Sharon, she's not named here, her name doesn't appear here, has not paid money. It does not tell us how much money she's not paid, but it says to the amounts payable in the table. And it's got somebody's details here, S. Monahan. Who is this person? Nobody knows, okay? If it's a judge, okay, S. Monahan would follow either a DDJ, just Deputy District Judge, or DJ, for taking responsibility for it. And if it was Justice of the Peace, each Justice of the Peace must be named, even though it's the chair who does the talking. They all are responsible equally for the creation of this document. And that's because there's no such thing as an anonymous Justice of the Peace. Down here, you've got or by order of the clerk of the court or designated officer for the magistrate's court. They have no authority to make a liability order. So without knowing who that is, or whether they're Justice of the Peace or District Judge or what they are, this is a void document. It's not evidence of a liability order. Why? It's improper authorization, defendant not named, no amount, and it has no case number. You'll note that this number and these date and time, okay, is consistent with this. Therefore, it looks like these documents were printed on the same batch. They have different page numbers. Unfortunately, you can't see the second page number here. However, this also claims to be a liability order. 259, 556, sorry, they're in the wrong order. Whoops. So we need to move that one. How did that one move into the wrong place? I know. Why does this one not come up? This one should have come up first. Oh, because it's on the side, that's why. Okay, this page here then is the next one. Okay, this one here is the one with the same date and back and printing number. Okay, that date, that there, and that there, and the date's the same. However, this isn't titled the table. So this questions whether this is the table referred to, because this here actually says this is a liability order in respect of council tax. But in any event, this is a fraudulent misrepresentation, as was the last one, because it's not a court document. There's no evidence this having been issued by a court. It does have a case number. It does have an amount. It does mention Oldham, but it doesn't say what it's about. But there it says it's the aggregate amount in respect of which liability order is made with respect to the defendant, being the sum payable and outstanding plus the cost of the complaint. So yes, it could be construed to meet that standard. However, there's no indication if that amount has been paid, or if the complaint was withdrawn, or if the liability order was made, or if the hearing was adjourned, or if the complaint was dismissed, and there's no JP's authorization. Okay, let's just try and see if this time it's going to allow me to correct the spelling. Edit. Okay. And this is merely a part of what's called the complainant list. And that's printed on the same day as this, as I've said. Okay, we don't know how many pages this complaint list includes, whether this actually is the table referred to. It may well be there's a table somewhere else in this complaint list, or what it is. So this certainly does not meet the HMCTS standard of what evidence is a liability order. This is the second one. Again, same thing. It claims to be a liability order, which is a misrepresentation. It's not evidence of a liability order. Going through, same thing. It's got the court name, it's got the date, it's got the complainant, it's got the reason for the complaint, and again refers to a table. However, this one isn't even signed by a justice of the peace. It's got no case number. Defendant's not named, and there's no amount. So that there's a waste of space on its own. But again, we have the same problem. It's the same job run, same date, same time, different page numbers. Again, this isn't called the table, so this can't be the table they're referring to. This again is a fraudulent misrepresentation claiming to be a liability order. Again, no indication if it's paid or withdrawn or adjourned, or if a liability order was made, or if the complaint was dismissed. And it's part of the complaint list printed on the same day, but it does have a case number and Sharon's name and the amount. So again, this is not evidence because nobody knows what the table is. However, on the same date, here now we've got another piece of evidence they submitted. Again, it's called a liability order, same print run, same date, same time, different page. Nobody knows if this is the table. If it's the table, it's not worth anything again that it's written. Again, same thing, Mr. Salim. Who's this? If it was a judge, it would be initialed. And if it was by order of a clerk of court or designated officer, neither of those have authority to make judicial decision of making a liability order. It does, however, say how many were granted with costs, how many were withdrawn, and how many were paid. But nobody knows, was Sharon's one of the withdrawn? Was it one of the paid? Nobody knows. Was it one of the liability orders granted? So again, this here has no case number, no court name, improper authorization, complaint not named, defendant not named, and no amount. So again, not evidence of a liability order meeting the HMCTS requirements, which is very clear. So this here is the interim charging order that they applied for. Now, it was made by a court officer. Court officers cannot make judicial decisions, and judicial decisions cannot be delegated. So therefore, this document straight away void with it. However, what makes it worse is from which it appears. Okay, so I've shown you the evidence, and based upon that, with all the obvious flaws and defects in it. And it's just, it appears, it could be, yeah, but it couldn't be. But most importantly, is it following the due process? And the HMCET guidance is very, very clear that this does not meet the evidential burden. Then on the 10th of October, District Judge Clark claims that Sharon was present. That's a straight lie. Sharon wasn't present. And therefore brings into credibility the whole document. Okay, anything based on a lie, everything follows, cannot be deemed as credible. So again, this final charging order is void itself, let alone the interim charging order being void. But this charging order needs to pass the test that the interim charging order is not void. And then this here is the register, and basically that there just confirms Sharon's ownership of the land and what was paid. So that's the evidence bundle. And we'll be referring to the evidence bundle as we go through the filling out of the form. Okay, so I'm going to end this one here so that people can see what an evidence bundle should look like, and how we refer it will be just now.